I want to read some poems connected with the First World War because we're coming up to Remembrance Sunday. And I want to read poems that are not to do with the brutality and I suppose one could say the monotony of life in the trenches. Rather, I want to read poems which have to do with the attempt, as it were, to salvage little bits of feeling and something which would rescue you from the brutality that surrounds you. The first of them is by L.G. Moberly, and it's about the horses that were used, not for cavalry charges. They were almost like pit ponies. They were used for heavy work, pulling the guns. And this is a poem by L.G. Moberly called Commandeered, about how the horse has come to leave the farm. Last year he drew the harvest home along the winding upland lane. The children twisted marigolds and clover flowers to deck his mane. Last year he drew the harvest home. Today, with puzzled, patient face, with ears adroop and weary feet, he marches to the sound of drums and draws the gun along the street. Today he draws the guns of war. That's not sentimental. That's a desire actually to find a moment of feeling when you're surrounded not by feelings of compassion and pity and affection in that way, but surrounded simply by the need to survive. But of course, you only really regularly spent 3 days in the trenches and then 3 days behind the trenches. And a surprising number of the poems are about those moments where you're saved temporarily from the monotony and sheer hell of listening to the shells whistling overhead. This is a poem by Ivor Gurney, who is a very distinguished song composer. It's called The Battalion Is Now on Rest, and it was written to the rhythm of a French song called La Comtesse. Walking the village street to watch the stars and find some peace like the old peace, some soothe for soul and mind. The noise of laughter strikes me as I move on my way towards England, westward, and the last glow of day. And here is the end of houses. I turn on my heel and stay where those voices a moment made me feel as I were on Cotswold, with nothing else to do than stare at the old houses, to taste the night dew, to answer friendly greetings from rough voices kind. Oh, one may try forever to be calm and resigned. The red blind at evening sets the poor heart on fire, or a child's face, a sunset with the old hot desire. And it is, of course, a desire for peace and for ordinariness, not for having to talk about what's going to happen tomorrow, but simply to chatter with people in the pub in the Cotswolds, which is where he comes from. He was a Gloucestershire man, and one of his friends was called F.W. Harvey. They were close friends. F.W. Harvey spent 2.5 years in prisoner of war camps in Germany. But this is not about a prisoner of war camp. This is about one of those other moments where you wander out along the road and come along a little Flemish, North French village. It's called Gonahem. Of Gonahem, it shall be said that we arrived there late and worn with marching, and were given a bed of lovely straw. And then at morn, on rising from deep sleep, saw dangle, shining in the sun to spangle the all-blue heaven, branchloads of red, bright cherries, which we bought to eat, dew wet, dawn cool, and sunny sweet. There was a tiny courtyard too, wherein one shady walnut grew. Unruffled peace the farm encloses. I wonder if beneath that tree the meditating hens still be. Are the white walls now gay with roses? Does the small fountain yet run free? I wonder if the dog still dozes. Some day we must go back and see. That's not so much a memory as a looking forward to the time, as it were, when he can go back to the village that he knew in the war, in peacetime, and see whether the things that he loved then are still there. So it's that, in a time of acute crisis, to try to imagine what it would be like to be out of that crisis and have normal feelings and normal responses restored to you.